Yeah. So step by step, I'll show everything here, and you can see how it is working actually. Well, why it is and so everyone knows this is a command window. Annotation is coming up. I don't know. Not familiar with this. Yeah. Okay. So maybe everyone knows how the MATLAB works. This is MATLAB environment. So just basically, I'll use a small matrix here. I hope that everyone knows this. Just for example, I'm giving this. It works. Okay. So yeah, it's working. So let me open the algorithm. I mean the program for load flows using backpropagation algorithm. So basically, I'm reading the input information in the first few lines here. These are the input information.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, screen is blank, sir. We are not able to see anything.
Okay. I think somebody has rushed this presentation, sir. That's why mine has gone, I think. It is there, sir. Stop sharing. Okay, okay. I think I have shared only one thing I'm doing in the another window. Maybe that is the reason it's not. Yeah, okay. Now it is okay, sir. MATLAB can be seen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Initial lines is for basically I'm reading the information. So these things are not that much needed for our purpose. So I am reading the input information. I have some input and output, and I also have some test input and test output. I will explain also what is the input that I am giving to this. So basically, what I need to do is first thing is I need to share the both the windows so that it will be easy for everyone. So this thing is shared and also this thing is shared. Both the things are shared. Yeah, both the things are shared. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so come back to the algorithm once again. So first thing is you need to you need to normalize your inputs. So this thing has to be done, and you need to assume number of hidden layer neurons, and you need to initialize what is the what is your V matrix and what is your W matrix. What is the weight matrices V and W? First thing has to be done. So basically, what we will do is we will initialize between -1 to 1. So here, what I did is I initialized them between minus 0.5 to 0.5. So if I let me understand, otherwise let me tell you what is those. So L is enter the number of input nodes. So and if you have L, it is input nodes. M is the number of hidden layer nodes, and N is for number of output nodes. Input, hidden layer, and output. N is for output. Okay. So let me give those values. L is equal to consider that in our case whatever we have taken is input nodes is 2, input nodes is 2, and output nodes n is equal to 1, and hidden layer neurons. So 2 into 2, it will be 4. So m is equal to 4. Okay. Now I will run the this one. So what happened here is I created a random matrix of size 2 into 4, that is V matrix, and I created a matrix W, which is a size of 4 into 1. Okay. So my V matrix is the size of V matrix is 2 by 4, and my W matrix is 4 by 1. Okay, thus 2 has been created. Okay, it is here I have given it as -1 to -1 to +1. You can also do it for -5, 0.5 to 0.5. The next one is normalization. In this code, what I did is first thing I've done that, and next I have gone for the normalization. No problem. You can do that. So normalization. Next part is normalization. So what I did is I found out the maximum of all my training outputs and the minimum of all my training outputs, and I try to normalize all my data. That is, complete my training information is being normalized between this minimum and maximum. So basically, what happens here is all my input information will lie between point. In this case, it will be minimum to maximum value. So basically, it will be -1 to 1, -1 to 1. Otherwise, 0.5 to -0.5. Whatever the level I have mentioned, it will be normalized between those in that particular level. Basically, why we normalize is that something like if you consider information like this. So I think I have erased that. So basically, if you have an information like you are adding something like 100 plus 120, I'm getting some noise. So I'm adding two values. If it is the value is very big, so it consumes more number of bits and bytes. So in order to reduce that, whatever the information I'm giving, whatever my input information is there, I need to normalize it. So basically, what I will do is I'll take a minimum value and maximum value. Within those two values, I will put all my input information. So this is for normalization, basically this part. So normalization of training outputs, inputs and output, both I will do. Next is I have to mention how many iterations it has to be done. Next, I need to simply what I need to do is I need to first thing I need to do is my multiplication of V matrix into my input matrix. Input matrix is being normalized and multiplied with V transpose. This V dash will give you transpose. I'll show it that to you. So basically V is this one. So V dash is this one. So it transposes that. Command window also I can see. Okay, V is this one and V transposes. So inputs, I am giving some input and multiplied with V dash. Next, what I will do is I will multiply this one. That is, again, I need to compare it with my code here. So first thing, this is my output of input layer is multiplied with V transpose, and I'll get IH, and IH is transferred to a threshold function, and I'll get OH, and OH is multiplied with a weight matrix W transpose, and then that output is again transferred to a threshold function. So is the same thing happening or not? We will see in the code. So first thing, multiplied with IH. Sorry, this is done. This is the first layer. I got IH. IH is now transferred to a threshold function like this, sigmoidal function. Then again, what I do is I took this one and multiplied with W transpose, and again that W transpose is given to whatever that information I have given to, I have transferred it to threshold function. So same thing is happening in the code also. So you can observe that here. So input multiplied with V transpose given to threshold function, multiplied with W transpose given to threshold function. Okay. Multiplied with V transpose given to threshold function, multiplied with weight matrix given to threshold function. So out of this, what I'll get is my O, that is output of output layer. OO. So now what I do is I find the error. Okay, this is my error. Okay, so I found out the all the sum of all the errors of all the input information that I have given, and I found out that error. Next, what I do is I will find out D matrix. D matrix is for updating the W matrix. Here you can observe that formula. D is for updating the W matrix. So first D is D minus OO. OO is output of output layer multiplied with output of output layer into 1 minus output of output layer. This comes from the derivative of uh, the uh, the error function. Derivative of the error function with respect to if EEP is differentiated with respect to the hidden layer, you will get this information. And if you derivate with the error function with respect to the input layer, you will get the E value. That is here. This one will come out if you multiply, if you derivative um, um, your hidden layer with respect to the input layer, you will get this one. Okay, so that is been found, and y value is found, and finally we are finding what is the del w value, new del w value, which is multiplied with alpha into del w plus okay, it's following the same thing. I'll find e, and next I will find out x value, and I will update v value. So I find out x value and I update v value, right? Next I will update v value and w. Now v and w values are updated, and I will find the total error and error rate. I will check whether it is less than 0.01. If it is 0.01, it is done. If it is not, go for the next iteration. So like that, I will perform for all the input neurons for maximum number of iterations. So if that 0.011 error rate is achieved within that 100 iterations, the system will stop. So I'll print the converged iterations, and what I will do is I will find out for the, so my v and w values are found out. So I will test with my new input whether I am getting my output or not. Okay, this is for testing purpose, and this is for printing purpose and updation of all those other values. Okay, this is for printing, final printing. Okay, what is that I have given to this? What is the input I have given to this? That you need to understand. So basically what we took is, we have taken a 14 bus system. So 14 buses excluding the slack bus, it will have 13 buses. So 13 bus load flow information is being taken for 16 patterns. 16 patterns means 16 times for different parameters we have run load flows, and we have collected that information and stored in this particular uh, what you say that in this particular MATLAB file. So basically the first 13 values will be your p values, that is real power values. 13 values will be real power values, and followed by 13 values of your q values. So basically if you know, if you consider the known and unknown values, so basically we know, the known information is related to p and q, and unknown information is related to v and delta. We basically calculated the complex voltage, bus voltages, and complex bus angles of a power system, of basically to say the network, power network. So p and q, in some buses we know p value, we know q value, something like that. We know v value, pv value is known, pq value is known, something like that. So based on that, I'm calculating my v and delta. So similarly, this particular data, this particular information contains 13, because I am for a 14 bus system, I am subtracting the first slack bus, remaining 13 buses I am taking. So 13 p values are there, followed by 13 q values. Okay, this is my input information in this one. Next, my output information. Output information is, everyone knows this. Basically, this is a load flow solution. So it is v and delta values will be there in output. So first 13 values will be v values, and 13 values will be the phase angles, that is delta values. Okay. Similarly, there are extra 4 patterns are there. So if you count them, there will be 16 patterns here. So it starts from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 16, 18. So 16 patterns are there. So you can see that 16 is for number of patterns, input patterns, and 4 is for output patterns. Okay, so you can observe that here. So number of output patterns are 4. Means I need to give this input, I should get this output for whatever the information I have given. Okay, this is the information I have given. Means this is my input, this is my output, this is my information I have given to my network, and it is get trained. Now I will test with this input patterns, I should get this output. It should means at least to some extent it should get. Okay, now if I run this program, what I will get, I'll see. So what it is asking is enter the number of input nodes. So already I told you. So 13 p values will be there, 13 q values will be there. So total 16 is my input nodes. So I have given 26 as my input nodes, 13 plus 13, 26. And number of output nodes is again 26, I have given that 26. And number of hidden nodes, it is 26 into 2, I'll take it as 52. Next, it is asking for the alpha acceleration rate, I'll take it as 0.4. I want to do, if I want to do fastly, I'll do it 0.6. It asks for eta learning rate. If I go it high, it is takes a lot of time. If it is low, may not be trained to the actual value. So I will take it around 0.5. I will take. Okay. So maximum number of iterations, I will take it as around 100 or 150. I'll take. Okay. It should converge before that. Okay. Right. I have given 150. It's running. So now you can observe. So input pattern is been presented and the error has been reduced after around x is around 5 iterations. After 5 iterations, the error has reduced. Okay, it has not reached 0, but it has maintained that almost for number of more number of iterations. So it roughly took around 10 to consider that this is not stabilized. Somewhere here it is stabilized. It took around 100 iterations for trained for that information. Now what happened is I got an updated V and W values. So if I press for V value, V is updated value now, W is updated value. Now if I multiply this with the new information, I'll get my the forecasted information. So something like here, I think already that is also been done. Total error is also been done in this second board. Okay, so basically, what I am doing is I am presenting this network, the neural network, with one information, and I am predicting for the future value. Now, how to get this information? That is the major problem. Basically, what the researchers will follow is what is the information that I have to give. That is based on your problem. So if I am doing, again, I'll go for the presentation. So if I have a load flows, my input information is my PQ values. My output information is V and delta. If I am going for a load forecasting, my input information will be, if it is a time-based information, time series information, time versus the load value. Okay, time versus load value. That is a time series information. If that load is dependent on some other parameter, something like temperature, if it is dependent on temperature, if it is dependent on humidity, my input information will be temperature, humidity, and something like location or something like that. You can take something like wind speed or season, wind speed or season, something like that. So this is my input information. So for this, it is P and Q is my input information. This is V and delta is my output. For load forecast, temperature, humidity, wind speed, seasons, and so on will be my load input values. Based on that, I will do the load forecast. So load is my output. Temperature, humidity, wind speed, and seasons are my input information, and load is my output information. For wind and solar, again, if you are going for a time series, time versus, it will be a time series, time versus wind or solar. If it is associate model means it depends on some other parameters. So if it is going for a wind, you can go for the wind speed. Wind speed is one input, temperature is one input, humidity is one input. You can go for these inputs. For solar, you can go for irradiance, temperature, humidity, those values you can take it as input information. So for wind and solar, basically speed, wind speed, temperature, humidity, seasons, these comes your input information for associate model I'm talking, and output will be your wind output or solar output. Next, for ancillary services forecasting. Ancillary services is something, these are the supporting services required for the power system, where you need extra reserve, you need operating reserve or secondary reserve or tertiary reserve or extra services that are required to maintain the system frequency at same level, or a balance between PG and PD. So extra services that are required. So extra services, something like operating reserve, consider it as an operating reserve as your one input. Something like a secondary reserve, or consider that a secondary reserve is there, or there is a uncertainty in wind. I'm not writing accurately. Uncertainty in wind. Consider those as in your inputs for the forecasting ancillary services, and then your output will be, again, your output will be based on how much reserve that you require, how much balancing service you require, such that the frequency is maintained. So maintaining 50 Hz frequency is your output. Okay. So these applications we can make use of artificial neural networks. Okay. Basically, I have given with the only one particular neural network in this particular discussion, that is only backpropagation algorithm. There are many other algorithms are there. Those things can be also applied, and uh, finding the information, that is majorly big problem for the researchers. So I want to share one particular website with you. It's very important and also very helpful for the researchers. I will share the page here. There is a portal related to NERC. It is not been seen in the top. Let me share that information. I will show that. It's very useful website where you get wind data. All the required data you can get it from here. It's very useful website for particularly electrical engineering researchers who are doing research in this particular area: load forecasting, wind forecasting, and other things. With that, I will conclude this session. So this is, sorry, it's NERC is different NRO. So this is the website. Let me share it. Share the screen. It is an NREL website actually. Sorry for that. I hope my screen is being shared here. Yeah, right. It is shared. So this is the website where you can get data. Very useful data. midcdmz.nrel.gov, North American website. You can choose different points where you can get the wind data, solar data. So let me take one particular data center here, NREL campus. So if I go into this, I'll get lot of data related to solar and wind. Okay, so if you go for these solar calendars, daily plots, raw data, live data plots, so I'll go for the live data plots. I'll show. So here, if I choose the time entire day, if I'm choosing entire day, I'll get that. If I daytime, I can choose this. What is the information that you need? You need whether the temperature at 50 meters, you can choose that. Whether you want wind speed at 50 meters, you can choose that. And whether you want something like wind direction, yes, at 50 meters, you can choose that. And whether you want for something like turbulence intensity, or okay, let me consider that. So let me take these information. So what are those? The temperature at 50 meters, wind speed at 50 meters, wind direction at 50 meters, and I can download that information to for me for doing the forecast. I can save this into CSV file and I can use this for forecasting and other information. So please take this website midcdmz.nrel.gov. It's very useful information to get raw data and also helpful. But again, you need to understand here that you need to find out what are the parameters which the output is depending. This is everyone's uh, compulsory rule that you need to find the relationship between the input and output. Means you should not take, okay, whatever the data I have, I will use that and I will try to forecast the thing. It won't perform properly. You need to see what is the data it is getting influenced by. Is the input information it is getting influenced. Choose that information only. So if you are taking for a something like in this case, what I did is I for a something like I want to forecast for wind output. So what I have taken temperature at 50 meters. I have taken wind speed at 50 meters. I have taken wind direction. Okay. It may not helpful for other if you are considering for solar. It may not helpful for any other type of forecast. So you need to choose your data wisely such that that helps your final out. So with this I want to conclude, and if anyone has any doubts, please put them. I'll try to answer those questions. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm open for the questions.
Sir, please stop your sharing, sir.
Sure, sir. Okay. One button here.
Sir, good evening, sir. Can I, from this NREL website, can I get a Hyderabad?
No, sir.
wind
It is
speed
only for
area?
it is only for USA data points are there, sir. In that, it is not
Is
for
there any solution for to get in Telangana, in Hyderabad, what is the wind speed in a particular date or location?
Actually, few centers, data centers has to publish those information, sir. Basically, if I'm in a native Warangal, where I did my PhD, we used to have that data center for that collecting wind speed and those things. But it is not for testing purpose, not for the research purpose, only for display purpose. Only they use it to collect that information. It may not be that much accurate, but
Because in some of the softwares for the related to the solar, they if you give the angle and so it gives the corresponding irradiance. Similarly, that kind of anything software is available for to find out in
as
a
of
particular
now, no,
location.
sir. Not accurately. Means a little information like what angle and those things can be done, but historical data is not possible, sir. It is not publicly available. Historical data is not available publicly. If you have any contacts within the these NPDCL or maybe within this power related organizations, then it is possible. Even my
So I have
senior
already
was there.
observed it. Yeah.
Sir,
In so many
Rakesh
papers,
was
they are,
presented also.
yeah.
So
In
what
so
he
many
has
papers, they
done
are
is,
giving only wind speed as a 10
yes, sir.
meters per
Yes, sir.
second is only the standard thing. If it is going beyond, in some of the areas, you are getting some papers also 13 meters per second also.
Sir, that is the reason I am suggesting this NREL website. Actually, most of the people maybe they will know that data is displayed in NREL, but they don't know where it is displayed. So by this website, you will get that information. Sir, actually, problem is in real-time data getting, particularly in India, it is completely difficult. I tried it. Few are giving, but problem is they are very old data. Means almost something like they are giving the information of 2015 or 2014, something like that. So current data is almost, I think, it is very difficult to get, sir. And my senior, I think Rakesh has presented on the second day also. He also collected the data from Tamil Nadu wind wind power organization. So basically, he also got that problem. Getting real-time data is very difficult problem. When he went to Italy, he got that information because they are having their own test center, something like a simulation center. So by that, they have generated some data and they got that information. So
Because if you want to go for any publication, they'll see mostly the real-time data.
real-time data, yes, sir. Real-time data is definitely.
It is well and good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Real-time data, definitely they are seeing it. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Sir, one more down.
Sir.
And right now we had a discussion of BAP propagation.
Yes, sir.
Apart from that, what is the latest developments in EAN?
Sir, neural
Because
networks.
this propagation is a long back topic almost.
Yes, sir.
What is the latest development that have taken place in the EAN apart from this back propagation?
Sir, actually, present. One thing you need to understand here, sir. One thing is that most of the current research, what is happening, they are not actually looking at a single artificial intelligence techniques. They are looking at meta heuristic techniques where they are including mathematical models also into the present system. So basically, it is something like a very people are actually coming out of artificial intelligence techniques, particularly for power system. I have seen this. I have seen some research in the IIT Madras and also in IIT Delhi. What actually they are doing is they are including mathematical methods, adaptive, something like it is a mix of mathematical methods. So if you want to see, if you want to follow that, I want to mention some names also. In IIT Madras, Surender is there. He did his actually is not completed yet. So you can search for his research. They are doing with the mathematical models. Okay, they are doing the power system operations only, but they are going for the mathematical models. So we are having a lot of scope now because if you want to publish your work in IEEE and such things, people are looking for such type of models where there is error is less actually. So whatever, if you consider this neural networks and those things, it is something like most of the people are doing it. So something I have seen.
Coming to the power system, if you want to go to the real-time systems, it is very, very difficult to get published.
Even
at least for the real-time data, if it is available in some source, so that it will be most beneficial for the researchers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Shall we stop the session now, sir?
Yes, sir.
Durga.
Yes, sir. You can stop.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable session.
Thank you.
In this session, we have explained artificial neural networks, their applications to power systems, and back propagation algorithm very well. Thank you very much, sir. Now it is time for validity session. Good afternoon, all. I cordially invite T.V. Reddy sir, Secretary of St. Peter's Engineering College, Hyderabad, Dr. K. Srilata Madam, Principal, Dr. B. Brahmaya, Controller of Examinations, St. Peter's Engineering College, all heads of the departments, coordinators of this FDP, faculty of EEE department, resource persons of this FDP, Dr. J. Vishnunath Rao sir, VNR BJIT, Dr. D. Rakesh Chandra, Fitz Parangal, Dr. Srijit sir from NIT Silchar, R. Guruswamy sir from BVRIT Hyderabad, Dr. B. Durga Harikana sir, Assistant Professor Vagdev Engineering College Varangal, and all participants of this workshop. A very good afternoon to you all, and a warm welcome to this valedictory session. And this FDP is conducted with the objective of imparting some research activities, research knowledge to the researchers and those who are doing research in AI techniques and with application of power systems. And in this 5-day session, we have discussed about swarm intelligence technique, wind power forecasting using neural networks, and colony algorithm for battery management system, applications of ANN, and all these are detailed theoretically and practically, and with coding we have discussed. We are very much happy with all the resource persons. They have given excellent knowledge to the participants, and we are thinking that we have reached our objective. And thank you very much for all participants for participating in this FDP. Now I welcome Dr. B. Brahmaya sir, Controller of Examinations and Professor in EEE Department, St. Peter's Engineering College, to address the participants. Brahmaya sir, please.
Co-conveners Mr. Krishna and Mr. Gopinath, and the faculty of EEE Department, eminent speaker of today's program, Dr. Durga Harikiran, my dear participants from India and abroad, very good afternoon to all. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, audible.
Sir, am I audible?
Audible, sir.
Sir, am I audible?
Audible, sir, can proceed.
Okay, very good afternoon to all. There is a tremendous response for this FDP with 200 participants across 14 states of India and participants from other countries. Artificial intelligence is very useful to solve many problems of power systems. Eminent speakers covered various topics that are useful for academicians. I met my friend Dr. J. Viswanatha Rao of VNR VJ8 on first day of this FDP. I also met my old student, Dr. Rakesh Chandra, who is the eminent speaker for the second day of this FDP. I request all the participants to utilize this knowledge gained here. I congratulate the convener, Dr. J. Krishna, co-conveners, Mr. Krishna, Mr. Gopi Krishna, and Gopinath, and the faculty of EEE Department for organizing this FDP successfully. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you one and all. Over to convener.
Now I invite our beloved principal, Dr. K. Srilata Madam, to address the participants.
Thank you, sir. Respected Secretary and Correspondent of St. Peter's Engineering College, Sri T.V. Reddy Garu, Controller of Examination and Professor in EEE Department, Dr. Brahmaya Garu, Head HOD Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department, Dr. Jai Krishna Garu, today's webinar coordinators, Mr. Krishna and Mr. Gopinath, participants from all over India and abroad, today's resource person, Dr. Durga Harikiran from Vagdevi Engineering College, Warangal. Very good afternoon, one and all. At first, I would like to congratulate the convener and especially the coordinators of this program for successfully organizing this for 5 days. Initially, when we thought of conducting one webinar pertaining to the electrical engineering department, we were in a dilemma onto what area we need to start this webinar, because most of the colleges during this pandemic period have started their webinars. But we thought it will be convenient if you do any computational techniques or if you do webinar on any application of computer techniques to the electrical power system. So with that intention and with the support of the head of the department and the coordinators, we have started this 5-day webinar on artificial intelligence solutions to power system problems. After listening to all the lectures on all the 5 days, hope you all might have understood the importance of learning the computational techniques that are required for the solutions in electrical engineering problems. It is required as an electrical engineer, we need to learn more soft computing techniques. Today, I could see the response well, and Durga sir has explained very clearly from the basics how to go for the implementation of the artificial intelligence to solve the problems of the electrical engineering. And he has given various references and also have shown you how to run or how to write a program even in the MATLAB. I think this training program during these 5 days, even the other trainer also has explained you well on artificial intelligence technique. So this sort of webinar this webinar might have helped you in analyzing certain aspects, especially the research scholars and the faculty who are willing to take their join their PhD program. This webinar might have helped them in identifying one problem pertaining to the problem related to the power system engineering. Especially, there are so many um, techniques that need to be developed onto the aspects of the stability. Stability pertaining to the wind energy systems and stability pertaining to the solar energy system is still a problem. Even though we say that the country is intending towards the implementation of the solar plant engineering and the wind power plant engineering, but there are so many aspects where we need to study in going for the interconnection between the renewable energy source and then the existing system. Because as we are in a developing country, we cannot invest more on the new techniques and the new systems. We need to have the production by the renewable energy sources, and we must find out the ways to interface the source into the existing grid. So such problems are there, and I hope the trainers have helped you in providing the solutions for the problems which you already might have chosen and which you are planning to choose in your research. So therefore, attending for this sort of training programs will help you. As conveyed by me on the inaugural day of this webinar, I hope you all have enjoyed all the sessions and this webinar has enlightened your knowledge and motivated you towards the research. I thank all our resource personnel, from my side and on behalf of my management also, for readily accepting our request. And I thank all the participants for trusting us and joining us. I thank our management for encouraging us to conduct such wonderful webinars. And I once again congratulate the Department of Electrical Engineering for supporting the coordinators and the head of department in organizing such a wonderful program. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Valuable words. Now I invite our Honorable Secretary Sir, T.V. Reddy Garu, to deliver his speech to the participants. Sir.
Sir, you are not audible, sir. I think you are on mute.
Sir, you are in mute, sir.
Okay. You have been okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can I speak now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Respected Principal Ma'am, Dr. Srilata, coordinator and convener for this particular program, mechanic Tribly HOD Jay Krishna sir, and we've got other coordinators Krishna and others who have been coordinating with this. For this FDP program on artificial intelligence solutions to power systems problem, we've got faculty from various institutes, VNR, KITS, Warangal, NIT, DVR, IT and others, Vagdevi, Dr. Vishwanath Rao, Dr. Rakesh Chandra, Dr. Srijit, and Mr. Guruswamy, and today's trainer, Dr. Durga Harikiran Garu. I think it's been very nice to see all these people helping our faculty to train all these days. And it's a nice topic to be associated with. All the faculty are very eager to learn. And it's a good response by faculty for all these days. And I hope all this knowledge that you've been assimilating all these 5 days, you're going to put them into practice. It's a nice way to use your vacations to your quarantine period or this COVID-19 period at home that we are doing. I think very soon we will all be going physically meeting each other. But it's wonderful to see all the faculty taking part, and we are very happy that St. Peter's are organized more than a dozen FDP programs in this particular period, including this one, which is happening second Triple program. And I am thankful to all the trainers, and I would like to appreciate all the faculty members who have been a part of these FDP programs. Thank you so much, and stay safe, stay happy. Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable words. Now I invite Mrs. D. Divya, Assistant Professor, Department of EEE, St. Peter's Engineering College, to propose vote of thanks.
Hello. Sir, am I audible to you?
Audible, madam. Proceed.
Myself, Divya, working as Assistant Professor in EEE Department. It's my privilege to
Yeah.
have been
Sir,
asked
Simba,
to propose a vote of thanks for this wonderful faculty development program. First of all, I would like to convey my hearty thanks to our Secretary, Sir, Mr. T.V. Reddy, for to this wonderful FTP. Also wish to express our grateful thanks to our Director, Mr. T. Anurag, for his continuous encouragement and support to conduct this wonderful FTP. I also wish to express my sincere thanks to our principal, Dr. K. Srilata, for her enormous cooperation in conducting this FTP. I also extend my gratitude to our Professor and Controller of Examination, Dr. B. Brahmaya, for his continuous support to conduct this FTP. And I also express my heartfelt thanks to all the department HODs in conducting this FTP. I want to convey a special thanks to our EEE HOD and convener of this program, this FTP, Dr. G. Jayakrishna, for his continuous support to us. And I also want to express my grateful thanks to the co-conveners, Mr. M. Krishna and Mr. K. Gopinath, for their great efforts in conducting this FTP. I want to express my thanks to all the organizers, department teaching and non-teaching staff for your support in conducting this FTP. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for all the speakers. On the first day, Dr. J. Vishwanatha Rao demonstrated about swarm intelligence and application in electrical distribution system. So he given a very eminent session. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And coming to the second day, Dr. D. Rakesh Chandra, working as assistant professor in Kakatiya Institute of Technology and Science, Warangal, given an excellent coverage on wind power forecasting using AI techniques. Thank you, sir, for your eminent session. And I want to convey my thanks to Dr. Srijit Shekaran, who is working as assistant professor in NIT Silchar, given an enlightened session on ant colony optimization techniques for power systems application. And next, I want to acknowledge my thanks to Mr. R. Guruswamy, who is working as associate professor at BVRIT Hyderabad, who taken an eminent session on algorithm for battery management system. Thank you, sir. And finally, I want to convey my heartfelt thanks for the today's eminent person, eminent speaker, Dr. B. Durga Harikiran, sir, who is working as assistant professor at Vagdevi College, Warangal, who given me a magnificent session on application of ANN for power system problem. And sir, thank you very much for your enlightening session. And last but not the least, I want to thank all the participants of this FTP for your active participation and making this event such a great success. Thank you one and all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you all participants. And again, you will get certificate, e-certificate within 3 days with your mails. And I thank all our management members, principal madam, HODs for their support for conducting this FTP successfully. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you one and all. I especially thank Mr. M. Krishna and K. Gopinath of EEE Department for the coordinators of this FTP and backbones of this FTP for conducting this FTP. Thank you very much, sir.